Well, hello and good morning and welcome in Africa and welcome in Big Cat Week. What a way to start this morning's safari. And for you guys, many of you, it's evening time. Welcome in Africa. It's going to be a fantastic day. We're sitting here with two lionesses, another game driver is just joining us, other guests on safari just like you, having a great time. This is going to be an awesome morning. Looking forward to it. We're also looking for leopard in the area from earlier, some reports we had, so lots to look forward to. And as always, welcome to Nat Geo Wild Safari Live. My name is Pieter. Let's go look around.
Welcome to the magnificent Djuma and Arathusa Game Reserves here in the famous Sabi Sands. It's part of the Greater Kruger National Park in northeastern South Africa, more than twice the size of Yellowstone National Park, and is home to all of Africa's iconic animals. This is SafariLIVE. Welcome aboard on the biggest safari vehicle on the planet. My name's Hayden Turner. I've got two vehicles out, a drone in the sky, trackers out since dawn, and a bushwalk. Guys, you are going to have a fantastic morning with us, or evening where you are. Absolutely brilliant to have you on board. And you can interact with us by asking us questions on Twitter, #SafariLIVE. We'll answer as many as we can right down the barrel to you on Safari with us. And one of the fantastic things we've got going at the moment is a game called Safari Bingo. You can get all the terms and conditions and rules on WildSafariLIVE.com, but the prize is absolutely incredible. A trip to the Serengeti to see one of the greatest wildlife spectacles on the planet, the wildebeest migration. Now, I've got a lucky porcupine quill here. I gave a bit of a rub this morning, and I tell you what, we're going to cross to Pieter because we've got something real special. Let's go.
Well, it's about time the call came up, I think. It certainly seemed to work. We're going to be spending a bit of time with these lionesses. Two of them. Just got another vehicle here next to us, as you saw in the beginning of the drive. There's the other one just to the left. I'll have a closer look at her and you'll see full belly. In fact, so full that she's breathing quite hard. Just look at how she's breathing. Not exactly sure what it's from, but they were found here not long ago, probably 10-15 minutes ago, and obviously full bellies. We're hoping they might go for a drink. There's a waterhole not too far from here, but what they've killed, why the bellies are sort of full, we don't know that yet. But that's something we might find out as the morning goes along. Otherwise, just brilliant to start with lions, and these two lionesses are part of the Styx Pride. We'll tell you more about the pride as we go along, and yeah, who knows what can happen. Typical lion behavior, well, typical cat behavior. Grooming, obviously, a very important part of the sort of staying clean, staying healthy process. They've actually had a drink already. Now I'm having a close look. We just got you a few minutes before you, so before you could join us. You see her cleaning her legs, but carefully look at her chin, and you'll see that it's almost muddy, a little brown fleck there. I see the other lioness as well, so they've already had a drink. One of the pans here close by. Guys, also remember, always on safari, nice to have a chat, nice to hear some comments and questions from you as well. #SafariLIVE, and we'll get to a few questions as well while we're sitting here. Well, Girlie, good question, and I think you probably just asked it just before we spoke about it. But Girlie is just wondering if they're pregnant. They're just very full. They've had a good meal. I'm not sure exactly what it was. Maybe as the morning goes on, we'll still have a look. But two lionesses could be anything from impala, sort of a medium-sized antelope, up to something bigger, wildebeest maybe. This is quite an open area. We're very close to the airstrip. Look there over my shoulder. That area there, that's the Arathusa airstrip. Oh, she's up, the one lioness. There you can see again, full belly. Now, the stick sprite girlies, some interesting history behind them, and we'll touch on it a few times during the course of this next hour. But originally 6 lionesses. Not so long ago, the Birmingham boys, big male lion, took over the area, and 1 lioness was killed. Some cubs were killed as well, and the whole pride has been sort of split up since then. So typically 2 are seen together. But to get back to your question, not pregnant, that's just full. Lots of food, although the chances for them being pregnant quite soon is quite high because of these males that have taken over. Typically what males do, that's why they killed the 3 cubs when they took over, is by killing the cubs they can bring on estrus with the lionesses. Typically there's normally a false estrus first, which means the males will think they're mating but not necessarily be successful. But then within the next few months after that, they're successful mating after that, and then new cubs obviously. So if not pregnant, quite soon. But those full bellies, that's from food. Guys, I'm sorry that I was really whispering. I'm very excited, firstly, to have you in Africa with us, and secondly, to be so close to lions is always fantastic. You know, you never know if you're going to find them. This is a massive area. The Kruger National Park, we're in southern Africa, that's where we are. So right in the southern end of the African continent, towards the eastern side, Kruger National Park is a massive area, as Hayden said to you, twice the size of Yellowstone. Huge area, and we're in the Sabi Sands Game Reserve, and specifically Arathusa, where we're sitting now, and Djuma Game Reserve. So very exciting to be here, and I just had to whisper just now because we were sitting a few feet away from another safari vehicle. They only had 6 people on the back though. I think we might have 1 or 2 more for this experience. I'm going to go around a little bit. We're very close to the, let's call it the human boundary if you want. One of the benefits of Sabi Sands Game Reserve is that it's privately owned, and therefore you can follow animals off-road. I'm just going to go around to the lioness on that side, and that's why we get these amazing experiences with them. We see them up close, we get intimate personal experiences with their behavior and what they get up to. But that does mean that we can't just drive anywhere. The lions can walk anywhere, they can go anywhere they like, but for us there's some sort of human boundaries we have to respect, and we're very close to that boundary. So we're going to make the most of these lionesses while we can. Here's the other one. Let's try and get you a window. Morning, Ty. Question there, how long do lionesses take to digest this food? In other words, when they're full like this, I think your words were actually super full. And especially this lioness, she's super full. It looks like she got the lion's share of the food. It takes them, well, they're digesting at a very fast pace. But normally if they've eaten a lot, it'll take 2 to 3 days before they sort of look lean again. And then they'll hunt again as well. But that depends on what they eat as well. These girls, I'm not sure where they're going to go, and we can't follow them very far. Maybe there's some food left. Oh, isn't she just beautiful? Before I talk too much, just look at that. She's looking in the direction of the other lioness who's walked away now. She's just watching her, seeing what she's up to. I'm expecting her to get up any second as well and move along, so we should have her walking past us here. Amazing cats. So just to finish that question, if it's a small prey, like let's say an impala, and this is like one good meal, but they've eaten it all in one sitting, they will normally hunt within 2 or 3 days again. But at the same time, if opportunity allows, they will take an opportunity 5 minutes later. So very much opportunistic hunters, but typically lions would eat about, you could say if they have a big meal, in other words, something like a kudu or a zebra, never mind a buffalo, they would eat for 2 or 3 days and then not eat for 4 or 5 days sometimes. So, oh, just look how beautiful she is. Even with that full belly, graceful, stunning, lethal, and just exciting to see. Whenever you see a lion in the wild, it just reminds you that you are in true wilderness and having a great time. That's what safari is about. That's what Big Cat Week is about. All the big cats of the world, to celebrate them, enjoy them, and what a better way to do it than spending some time with them live. Guys, we're gonna try and get a last look. Nathan, question there from you. Nathan, you're just asking if this is one pride or whether there are others. The Styx pride typically or originally were 6 lionesses, beautiful lionesses, nice large big girls, and strong lionesses. But then with the Birmingham boys taking over, One of them were killed, and they are now 5, but they're quite sort of spread out in terms of seeing them. We don't see them together as a pride that often anymore. It's more, you see them normally 2 of them together like this. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to get us a last look here. They are going to appear out of the area that we're allowed into, but I think we're going to get one last great view. Look at that. They've got a puddle to drink from, and this is going to be possibly our last view of them for the morning, but we'll just see. Big bellies, full of food. A lot of eating means a lot of drinking. It's hard work digesting that amount of meat. So this is probably their 2nd drink already, or 3rd drink already this morning. I just keep in mind it's a little bit early and it's a little bit overcast this morning. It's quite cool as well, actually. We are expecting it to get hotter and hotter this week. But this is the early part of summer, so it's quite green already. Sort of have that green-blue tinge to the bush. You can see there the lovely sky. It's sort of a hazy morning, very typical low-veld weather conditions. We call this area the low-veld that we're in. We're between the escarpment of the mountains, of the Drakensberg Mountains, down towards the Mozambique coast. So elevation-wise, we're only about 1,000 feet or so above sea level. Just go a little bit closer. This is about as close as we can go. Renee, you are asking there, how long are the talons on a lion or a lioness, the nails? I actually spoke about this just the other day. Someone asked that as well. But it's about 3.5, 4 centimeters, something like that, which is just over 1 inch. And those nails, of course, retracted into the toes when they're walking. So the nails are sharp, sharp. Even the front ones, when they're walking along, it doesn't touch the sand or the ground or the rocks wherever they're walking. It's only when they're running or grabbing onto something in the hunt or fighting, perhaps, that those nails come out when they extend the fingers or the toes. I always explain it as fingers visually. Guys, let me just explain this again quickly. I'm just afraid that someone maybe doesn't understand. Not afraid, but you know what I mean. I just don't want someone to misunderstand. The area that we are in, Sabi Sands Game Reserve, is a larger area, part of a much larger, massive area, the Kruger National Park. But the land that we are on is privately owned, and that means we can follow these animals off-road. It means we get incredible, intimate experiences with them. They get very used to us. But it does mean that we have boundaries, if you want, for us humans where we can go. And that's the reason we can't follow these cats anymore. They can go another, probably about 50 miles that direction if they want, without seeing anything other than possibly other lions and wild bush. But just look at that beautiful cat. The Styx females, I'm so glad we could see them in Big Cat Week as well, because they are, of the lionesses in this area, probably the biggest. I've always loved the Styx pride. Absolutely beautiful girls. John, this is always a concern for many people, especially the first time on safari. We're sitting in an open vehicle, and when you pull up and there's a lioness and she's weighing, I mean, this is quite a big girl. She would be weighing about probably close to 180, 200 kilograms. So let's say, give or take, 400 pounds. That's sort of 2 or 3 of any of us. And when you stop next to them, and suddenly you realize that, you know, I hope they know where we fit into the food chain kind of thing. But firstly, no danger. These animals are very used to us. I mean, I don't mean no danger. If you go and harass them or look for trouble or something like that, obviously they are wild animals. They are top end or sort of apex predators. But typically they don't associate us with food, at all. They accept us as part of the environment, the same as they would accept elephant walking through here, same as they would accept these trees. They've grown up, many of these lions, with seeing vehicles, so they don't see us as a threat at all. And mostly when people get attacked by animals, it's normally because they're threatened, not really for food. Oh, but they're just beautiful, stunning, stunning lions. Remember not the first time I saw them, but the first years I was in this area, in the early 2000s. You know, you get different prides. We're going to see different prides as well if we're lucky in the next few days. Nkuhumas is a different pride, and Shimungwes is another pride we see here as well. But the Styx have always been one of my favorite prides, just because the you can see that they're strong pride. You can see the good genetics in them if you want. Just absolutely stunning lionesses. And I know I've said this a few times, but it is lovely to appreciate it when you realize they're big, healthy lionesses. Just want to see where they're going after this drink. They might get a little bit of shade. I'm hoping they move back this way a little bit so that we can see more of them. Just give them a minute. I just want to see what they do. If they settle down, we're going to go to Hayden quickly. He's going to show you something about the sort of the design or structure of lions. But just want to see what she gets up to now. Hello, Dennis. A little bit of stopping there next to each other, always reinforcing those social bonds as well. Prides are very, very close. They work together to hunt, to protect themselves from other predators, hyenas sometimes. So they are very close, and you often see them sort of just walking up against each other. Dennis, you're just asking, are lions vulnerable when their bellies are full like that? Not really. Believe it or not, even with a full belly like that, she can still run like a flash if need be. And obviously they're strong as well. Keep in mind, again, lions are at the top of the food chain, as it's been said in that famous quote by Pumbaa. It's, or Timon, I forget. But they're still quick if they need to run away, and they're still strong if they need to intimidate something else. Guys, we're going to go over to Hayden quickly. He's going to show you something about the lion's skull and teeth structures, and we're going to be back here in a bit.
Absolutely fantastic. We've got lions. This is so brilliant. As Peter was saying, these claws incredibly sharp. This is the first port of call. They will use those to pierce the skin and hold onto the flesh, and then come out the heavy artillery. This is a lioness skull. If I open this up, I'm going to show you the teeth. These are the most important teeth, the canines. They will do the killing bite. And then you've got these very important teeth at the back here, the carnassial teeth, okay? Shearing or cutting teeth, okay? The last upper premolar and the first lower molar. Those ones are the scissor action down there. And then you've got these ones at the front, very closely put together incisors that do the scraping of the last bits of meat. That is a lioness skull, and that's what makes them the most powerful heavyweights in the bush. Let's cross back to Peter and see what he's up to.
Guys, these lionesses have moved into thick stuff there. I'm going to try and get you a last look, but we might actually have to move on. As I was saying, we've been sort of teetering on the edge of where we can see them. And the way they've walked now, I don't know if we'll actually be able to stick with them. There's the last view, maybe, just through that gap. That might be the last look we have at them. Guys, but I'm just really happy we could see them, and those guys are from the neighboring area, so they're going to keep an eye on those lions for us. If let me just turn that radio down. If they move it all back in our direction, we're going to be going back there. But at the same time, remember, as I said, good morning to you. We had a lot of exciting news this morning last time. Listening to radio there. Very important, the radio communication, because all the different safari vehicles, the other people on safari like us, are looking around as well. Good trackers, good guides. And we use that network to communicate with each other. So listen, this has been there, this has been there. Let's see what we can find. We're going to continue on a little bit. We're just coming up to the airstrip. And as I said this morning, there were reports of Tingana, which is a male leopard, and Shadow, a female leopard. And they were mating in the area of Arathusa Lodge. So we're going to go look around. They haven't been found yet, but I'm hoping, as always, that we could find a leopard, and how much more brilliant it would be if we could find mating leopards. So we're going to go look for that. And see what else the morning brings for us. Well, as you see, nice big open area. Who knows what we can find on here? But we are heading towards the east. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you after the break. Guys, very bumpy road, as you can see as well. And I'm going to take a quick look down at the pan here. Maybe there's something for us to see. And we are in a break at the moment, so we're going to have lots of people joining back with us. And I think we may go across to James to the walk shortly. Let's just see. We'll catch up with everyone when they jump back on the vehicle. This lovely pan. This is one of my most, I was going to say most favorites. One of my favorite pans. Just visually it's stunning. The dead tree. It's one of those sort of picturesque little watering holes or watering pans. View. I love views early in the morning. I'll show you where we are. Oops, bumpy. That's the airstrip area, and just lovely open area. That's why we often see zebra here as well. There's the pan, there's a hide, and then this all open area, obviously where the airstrip runs through. Okay. Well, guys, we are still in break time, so you can sit back and relax a little bit. When everyone gets back, tell them what you've been seeing, and we're going to go to the hyena den. We will see you back here in a bit.
Hello, everybody. We've come across to the hyena den here, where they are doing not a lot. There are two hyenas here. There's an adult there, and an adult off to the left-hand side here. And we're just waiting to see if the young cub doesn't come up. We probably won't spend too long here. There is a lovely atmosphere around here, and so when the TV audience comes back, we'll give them a taste of the hyenas, and then we'll probably head off to see if we can't find a herd of elephants. I hope you're enjoying this show. Lovely that we had some lions on Big Cat Week. Quite essential, really, in Big Cat Week to have some big cats. We've driven around here for most of the morning trying to find signs of the leopards of Djuma, Karula, Mvula. Mvula we had yesterday, of course, and unfortunately I think he's probably gone south out of the reserve. He's looking a bit old, and many of you watching on the internet will know him quite intimately. And I've noticed, he's 11 years old, for those who perhaps don't know. I think he's pushing 12 now, and he's starting to lose a bit of muscle mass on his hindquarters. He's getting a little bit floppy around the jowls. And I think he ate a rock monitor yesterday. I think he's coming to the twilight of his years. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. So we've got one more minute to the TV, and as you know, the lions have gone south. We're going to see if we can continue following them, but we'll keep you posted on that front. Welcome back, everybody. This is James Henry speaking to you from the hyena den, and we're sitting here with two adult hyenas. There's one in front of us there. Hello, everyone. And there's one over there. Two adults here. Now, just to reiterate, if you've just come across this program, you're on a live safari here in the golden dawn of the northeast corner of South Africa. It's a pleasure to have you with us. We're called SafariLIVE, and you can talk to us anytime you like. #SafariLIVE. And if you're playing bingo, safari bingo, keep watching out for the bingo words that may or may not happen as it goes. All right, let's quickly go across to a herd of elephants with the bushwalk and Scott. We'll see you just now.
Welcome to the bushwalk, everyone, and what a great start it is to have you on foot with a herd of elephants. And we have to be cautious because there's a lot of females here with their young calves, and they'll protect them quite furiously. My name's Scott, and it sounds like you guys have got off to a great safari with James and Pieter. Just testing the wind just to make sure it still is blowing towards us, because elephants have got incredibly strong senses of smell with their trunk, and if they were to smell us, they could get quite worked up and either come and investigate or run off. Both scenarios we don't want. I can still hear a few more in the bushes, and they're probably going to be crossing this small little clearing ahead of us. And I'm just going to try and creep forward, but I'm going to suggest you guys wait there, and I'm going to creep forward and see if I can get a little bit closer and work out how many more are coming. Now, if any of them do charge us or come and investigate, please listen carefully to what I say. But the best thing to do when an animal does charge you on foot is to stand your ground. By running, you give the animal the impression that it's more dominant than you, whereas if you stay put, you make them think twice about committing with that charge. It's remarkable how silently such big animals can move. Most of these cows will probably be about 4 tons. And I'm just going to wait.
Right, back to the hyena den, everybody. Just the most immersive, wonderful wilderness experience to be on foot with a herd of elephants. We're sitting here at a den, and like I was saying, there is a young cub sitting in the termite mound just off over here. This kind of 100-year-old or 200-year-old mound of clay built by millions and millions of termites over the years. Opened up by an aardvark or ant bear, that kind of long-nosed ant-eating or termite-eating animal, and eventually then modified by these hyenas. And there's a little cub in there, probably about a month old, and also a 6-month-old cub down in there, just using it for security. The heat is starting to build already. It's just after 6 o'clock in the morning. The heat is starting to build, and I think it's going to hit probably 90 degrees Fahrenheit today. So the hyenas have already got nice and relaxed. These are kind of nursing around well, not nursing, they're kind of nursemaiding, if you like, looking around, just keeping security here. Probably 2 males. The females are larger and don't necessarily always hang around. I think that's actually a female there. She's a bit bigger. Hello, Pat in Dallas. How very nice to hear from you, all the way from Texas. Pat, you want to know if hyenas can retract their claws? They cannot. So, I mean, while they are more closely related to cats, one of the characteristics that does give them that kind of dog-like appearance is the fact that their claws do not protract or retract. I remember, if you've got a house cat at home, Pat, if you kind of squeeze those claws and they pop out like that, remember, the correct term is protractable, because they can push them out. They don't pull them back in by default. They're in resting position, they're out, so they can protract them. And hyenas are just like a dog. Their claws are stuck completely out all the time. And these ones will probably sleep here for much of the day. They're largely nocturnal, and they'll just keep an eye out that nothing comes up to threaten the babies. And if anything does, they'll try and chase them away. Otherwise, they'll disappear and just let the youngsters sort themselves out inside the hole, because it's a very safe place for them to be. Lovely question from Angie. Thank you. How often do hyenas move their dens? Angie, they move their dens probably every 2 to 3 weeks, maybe up to a month. And it just depends on, first of all, how much disturbance there is. So if there were lions coming through here on a daily basis and roaring and making a great consternation, they'd probably move fairly regularly. And then likewise, I think after 4 weeks or so, inside the hole where the youngster lives, remember it has its sort of morning constitutionals inside the den for quite some time. There's no vacuuming or cleaning services going on in there, which means it becomes a place of disease quite quickly. And so after 2 or 3 weeks, especially with a young cub, they'll often move. And these hyenas, they form a clan, very territorial clan of 20 at least, and they've got a number of different dens around the area that we know of. This is a particular favourite of theirs, and certainly a particular favourite of ours, because they've got such a beautiful kind of a setting of magnificent trees. Right, let's head across to Hayden in the safari tent. He's going to tell you a little bit about the Queen of Juma, one of the cats, big cats, one of our favourites that we've been trying to find this morning. We'll head across to him and I'll see you in a little while.
Fantastic morning so far. Now there's another big cat here that's very, very special, and that's leopards. Everyone loves them. We follow them. We know them intimately. And there's one particular leopard around here whose name is Karula. She is known as the Queen of Juma. And I've put something together, a little clip for you. I'd like you to introduce you to her. Let's meet Karula.
Karula is the Queen of Juma. At 11 years old, she is the oldest female in the area. We have been privileged to watch her life as a mother and hunter over the past 9 years. Juma is at the heart of her territory. She is a formidable huntress, often hauling her kills into trees away from the jaws of scavengers. This allows her to bring up her hungry cubs. Karula is a successful mother, having raised 8 cubs from 4 litters. Being a leopard mother is not easy, as cubs are threatened by other leopards, lions and hyenas. Hyena will take every opportunity to kill the young of other predators. Despite being an aggressive defender of her cubs, Karula was unable to protect this little one. On New Year's Eve, 2 hyena killed her cub.
It's a tough life out there. They've got to really, really be on their toes. But you know what? That cat has an incredible, incredible history, and we know her intimately, as I said. The Queen of Juma, Karula. Let's cross back over to Pieter now and see what he's up to. I think he's hot on the trail of some leopards.
Well, guys, welcome back on the vehicle here, and obviously beautiful to see all that fantastic stuff about the leopard. Next road. And I must say that is absolutely my favorite leopard, probably of all time. Karula, I've been very fortunate to have known her since a very young age, and she is an exceptional mother. And keep in mind, in the Sabi Sands, only about 30% of leopard make it to adulthood, so 70% if you want don't. And Karula's raised all her cubs except for the last one with hyena, which was, yeah, sad. But speaking of cubs, we are heading to one of her earliest cubs, a female called Shadow. Well, when I say we're heading there, we haven't actually found her, but we're hoping that we're going to go find her. There's some vehicles looking around. That's why I'm covering quite a bit of ground, so sorry for not looking at you while I'm talking. I do want to get there. It's about a 10-minute drive to get where we want to start looking. Hopefully, with a bit of luck, we can follow the tracks up and find this leopard. And that would be Shadow, which is one of Karula's early cubs, in fact, first litter. And I was lucky enough to have known Shadow since she was a little cub, since she was a few months old. She's now almost 10, well, 9 really, Karula being almost 12. So lots of leopard activity to understand and enjoy, and hopefully we're going to find one of them this morning. We only have 25 minutes left, so that's the beauty of live. Anything can happen. but it means it must happen while you're with us. So we're going to try and see what we can find. And I think we've got another question as well. Okay, questions a bit later again. Something happening on the bushwalk. Enjoy it. See you back in a bit.
Look at how cool this is. It's a dung beetle. And it's rolling a massive ball of dung. As its name suggests, inside that ball of dung, it's going to lay an egg and then bury the ball of dung. And when that egg hatches, it's going to have a delicious meal to feed on. Now, the interesting thing is that it's probably rolled up a portion of that elephant's herd's dung that we've just been watching. And we've kind of backtracked in the hope that we'd actually find one of these. They've got the ability of flying, and when they obviously smell some fresh dung, they drop out of the sky and then come down using their very powerful arms and legs to craft this perfect ball. It's about the size of a golf ball, to give you an idea. And I'm not too sure where it's planning on going. It could travel quite some distance before it decides it's got to the right spot to leave the egg in this little ball and then move off. And they'll probably roll quite a few balls during the summer months. They're not here in the winter. So a lot of the dung that you see lying around in the summer has been unaffected by dung beetles. And they're incredibly important in getting these nutrients recycled back into the ecosystem. Look at how powerful it is. And I mean, imagine just trying to keep control of where he's going, and what he may do every now and then is crawl up onto the ball and do a bit of a 360 to get an idea of where its compass is at. So not just about the big things, but also the small things whilst on safari. Everything fits perfectly into this ecosystem. And we're going to send you back to James at the hyena den.
So we've moved a little bit around, and this is the larger of the two adults that are here at the hyena den. I think that this is a female, possibly, and we just, if you pull out, Brian's on camera, everyone, if you pull out and just have a look there. What happened, Brian? What's wrong?
What is that on?
Oh, goodness. A pineapple. A bingo pineapple. How very strange. It's almost as bizarre as finding a penguin here, wouldn't you say, Brian?
Definitely.
Thank you, Griselda, for your question. We're not going to discuss the pineapple too much more. Griselda, you want to know why hyenas live in termite mounds? We'll show you the hole where they live, Griselda, and that will explain to you exactly why it is. There's a hole just over there, in the top of the mound there. And, Griselda, they don't live at termite mounds unless they've got little ones. And there's a month-old little one and a 6-month-old little one that in the heat of the day like this will go down into the hole there for safety. And it's purely for safety, Griselda. They like to be in the mound purely for safety. The one on our right-hand side now, you can see a couple of injuries on her or him. It's difficult to tell, but I think probably a female. And you can see there an injury on the leg. And hyenas do a lot of fighting over food, and when they're scavenging they get injured. They fight with each other sometimes, especially if they're lower ranked. They really need to fight quite heavily for their food, and so injuries are very common. The older the hyena gets, the more manky it tends to look. Ooh. Yes, this is not a youngster anymore, quite blunt teeth. And we're going to head off to an advert break just now. We'll stay here with these hyenas and see what happens with them. A little bit of cleaning. They're not nearly as fastidious as cats when it comes to the cleaning. They do get scratchy, of course, as well. There he goes. Right, we'll stay here. See you shortly. Stay watching. Copy that. Shall we go there? Okay, everybody, we're going to try and get to an elephant bull in Must. And see if we can have a look at him. We've got 5 minutes of adverts, so we're going to try and do it quickly. Quickly get hold of fire control. Oh, lots of trees in here. The elephants have made the most horrendous mess. Pushed over everything. Right, here we go. Here we go. It's quite frenetic, this hour of TV that we do. And then we move quite quickly. Best route is going to be this way. Now, it was just along here that we spotted a mvula yesterday, which was great fun indeed. Followed him during the course of the day. We followed him for about 6 hours. Just amazing to watch what a leopard does during the day. A leopard does not lie down and do nothing. Well, I mean, sometimes they do. But this leopard moved. He only lay down for an hour contiguously. The rest of the time he was moving all the way, and he ate a little rock monitor for lunch, and then he lay in the shade a bit and had a bit of a clean, and he had a very pleasant day, and we had a very pleasant time with him. Sorry, Nyala, Big Cat Week, we will look at you some other time, or Big Elephant Week sometimes as well. So really a great time was spent with him, and unfortunately he gave us the slip just before drive started yesterday evening, and I tell you, Scott, me and 2 of the trackers with 2 vehicles, we struggled to stay with him during the day. At one stage we were viewing him on foot from a distance. It was the most special experience to spend time with that cat on foot. Let's head across to Pieter, get an update on his search on Arathusa. We'll go to the elephant and we'll see you just now.
There's a little duiker. I'll come back this side. We are in a break at the moment, and we are once again right sort of on the further edge of where we can go. And so if I miss 1 or 2 things from your questions, please don't mind me. That's a little duiker, little antelope. And we are looking, as we speak, for Tingana and Shadow. The tracks are in the area, they are in the area somewhere. It's just a matter of if we can find them and if we can find them quick enough. So we're going to be stopping and listening quite a bit. And keep fingers crossed. It would be amazing if we could find any leopard always, but Tingana and Shadow mating would be brilliant this morning. Vulture flying away. I'm going to go a little bit forward. We're going to just stop and listen. Leopards mating can make quite a bit of noise. Yes. Sorry guys, as I was saying, we're on the edge of communications, but all seems good. Let's take a little seat here. This is a good place just to sit and listen a bit. Also, everyone get back on the vehicle just now. We'll just give them a little bit of an update. Well, welcome back, everyone. We've covered quite a bit of ground since we last spoke, and while you were on the break, we've managed to get all the way towards almost the western edge again of where we can go. So we sort of stretching the boundaries of where we can take you, but very, very exciting. And I don't want to get too excited because it hasn't happened yet, and we only have about 15 minutes left of the safari. But we are looking for not one but two leopard at the moment. We have their tracks, and hoping we can find them. Obviously, welcome to Big Cat Week again, because this is brilliant for Big Cat Week. We're looking for the big cats. We've had the lions this morning. If we could find leopard as well, that would be very exciting. The leopard we're looking for is a female called Shadow. I mentioned her earlier on the drive, daughter of Karula, that you know about now. We showed you a little bit earlier. And Shadow is a very special leopard. I've had some amazing experiences with her, as well as Tingana, the male that she's with. And we're going to show you a little bit more about them shortly. We're going to sit here, listen. If we hear anything, see anything, we'll get you back here almost immediately. But for now, Hayden's going to tell you more about Shadow, and you're going to get a good sort of bird's eye view as well. See you just now.
Absolutely amazing to see giraffe from the sky. Look at that. Africa's, or the planet's largest, tallest mammal, sorry. And what a beautiful, beautiful shot that is. There's a bull giraffe, one of our vehicles in the background there. An incredible creature that has found a beautiful niche in the feeding arrangement there for all different species here, and they've capitalized on that tall sort of range of feeding, and they can reach the highest branches. The only competition they really have is elephants. But what an extraordinary shot to see them from the sky. And that wonderful shadow, that's one of the things that in the mornings we see the shadows of these beautiful creatures, elephants and giraffes, and as they're walking along, look at that. Isn't that magnificent? Oh my goodness. It's a perspective that I never thought in my life I'd be able to see all this beautiful wildlife from the air. And our wonderful commander, Andrew Francis, flying this beautiful machine gives us this perspective that is just incredible. Amazing. Shadows from the sky, which is a great little segue for me to Shadow the leopard. Shadow is an incredible leopard. It's one of Karula's offspring, 9 years old. She's beautiful, absolutely beautiful, but she hasn't been a very successful mother. She has had no luck at all, only raised one young. I've put together a clip to introduce her as well, and hopefully she's going to have some luck in the future, but just take a look at this.
Shadow is a 9-year-old female leopard. Her mother, Karula, is the queen of Juma. She has carved out a territory next to her mother's. Shadow, unlike most other leopards, does not often hoist her kills into trees. This means many of her meals are stolen. Spotted hyenas are usually the culprits. While the hyena tear into her freshly made kill, she watches from a distance, unable to compete with these larger social carnivores. Unlike Karula, she is not a successful mother. So far, she has lost 6 litters. The male from her 7th and most recent litter is just over a year old. We have had the privilege to watch this cub from birth. Shadow often leaves him for extended periods to go and hunt and even mate, forcing him to fend for himself. Unfortunately, the first big animal that we see him hunt is a domestic dog. He hoists it into a tree but fails to kill it. The dog is caught and found to have rabies. Tragically, this means Shadow's only surviving cub must be captured and taken into quarantine.
It's a tough life out here. It's really tricky for leopards. Lots of pressure, lots of different things happening in their lives. But you know what? They're going to get on. She should have some good luck in their next litter, I hope. Let's cross back over to Pieter and see what he's up to. Oh, sorry. We're going to cross over to Scott and see what he's up to.
Well, I'm sure you enjoyed the story about Shadow, that leopard. I'm about to tell you the story about a different leopard, and it's a leopard tortoise. Sadly, this is quite an old carcass, so you can't see any of the usual coloration, but there's this tiny little piece here of a keratin sheath called the scute, which usually lines the bony shell of the tortoise. And like I said, these are called leopard tortoises because of the beautiful coloration and patterns that would usually cover this bony shell. Now, one thing we can tell about this tortoise is that it was eaten by something. You can see how the shell's been broken open here, possibly a young male lion who's been kicked out of his pride and can't hunt for himself, or a hyena. So kind of in situations of desperation, predators will be able to crash through these shells and feed on the tortoise. Not the tastiest of animals out here. Also, what we can tell is that this was a female tortoise, and as I turn the shell upside down, you'll notice that the underside is very flat. Now, the underside of a male tortoise would be concave, so that when it's time for mating and he mounts the female, he kind of fits onto it quite nicely. If his plastron or undercarriage was flat, he would keep sliding off, which would be a highly frustrating procedure when mating. Great stuff. Well, wonderful about being on foot is that you can read into what has happened in the past, not necessarily the future, but at least you can get an idea of what's happened in the bushvelds while we are not here. We're going to continue now and send you elsewhere for some more action. Enjoy.
So we're still at the hyena den, everyone. The adult, one of the adults is here, and here comes the other one now. Look, they're so totally confiding to us, totally relaxed around the vehicles. It's just very special. That's my head, sorry about that. There we go. Highly social animals. Now, as you can see, get out of your way, just a quick greeting. I don't know, I may have been wrong about the sex of this one, and I've talked a lot about whether they're male or female. Very difficult to tell because they do both have kind of male-looking genitalia. Genitalia is not a word you want to say too often on live television. You know what, this one's going towards the den hole. I wonder if the little one's not going to come out. Look at this. Look, she's calling the little one. Hello, Kylie. You want to know when the mating season for hyenas is? Hyena don't have a mating season, Kylie. They're non-seasonal breeders. Look at this. Let's hope she's calling. So they'll breed any time of the year, Kylie. There's a little black cub in there. Let's hope that she comes out. Make a great performance for Big Cat Week. And while she's calling, of course, the colour of hyenas could be likened to the colour of what, Brian?
Maybe straw.
Maybe straw. There we go. Okay, let's just hope that this little thing sticks its head out. It will be so special. That might be the mother. Now, Christina, all the way in Washington, where I'm sure the heat is... Oh, here it comes. Here it comes. Look. There's the little one. Isn't that too precious for words? Oh, that's so special. Christina, that little cub doesn't drink water yet. She doesn't go anywhere but the den at the moment. Far too tiny. What a reward this is for being patient here, I must say. Now, Bill, a very interesting question from you. And those of you, just remember, if you want to ask us questions, hashtag SafariLIVE is what you need to tweet us on. Bill, you want to know if lower-ranking females will normally stay around the den to look after the youngsters. Here comes another one, or the other one here, just in front to say hello. Bill, no, not always. Often it's the mothers. Sometimes it's the males. You hear that? little one coming to say hello. I think this is a lower ranking female here in front of us, Bill, making that kind of strange growling noise. Now, David, you've asked a very astute question here. When do young hyenas leave their parents? David, it depends largely on whether they're male or female. If they're female, they will stay within what we call the natal pride, or the natal clan, the clan into which they were born. The males face this fascinating conundrum. If they stay within the natal clan, which they can, they won't mate. It's highly unlikely that they would breed. Only 3% of young hyena cubs are born to males that stay in the clan. The rest are all born to clan members that come from outside. But if you are a male hyena and you leave the clan, what happens is that the new clan that you join, you will become immediately a very low-ranking male. And so while you may mate, you may have the chance to mate, it's highly, highly unlikely that you will be able to feed properly, or you will definitely sacrifice food. Laika, very good question. Is it true that hyenas digest and eat bones? They love bones. Like they're some of the only animals in the world that are able to digest and consume bones the way that they do. They've got very powerful jaws, and combined with that incredibly powerful stomach acids that will digest all but the largest bones. And the only thing they don't digest well is hair, but there doesn't seem to be any animal in the world that can do that. Brian, just quickly up into the tree there. It's a gorgeous southern-masked weaver, shining gold in the sun there. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that beautiful bird. All right, let's head across to Scott on the bushwalk. We'll stay here with this hyena and this little cub and see you just now.
Well, seeing as though James was telling you about hyenas and their incredible digestive systems, we thought it would be a good opportunity to show you some of their poop. And as you can see, it's bright white from digesting lots of bone. Sadly, I can't really break it up as effectively as I would like to, but if I did, it would be very powdery. There's no shards of bone left in there, and that's testament to how good their digestive system is. There's nothing you can mistake it with in the African wilderness. It's the only poop that's white. Back to James.
There we go. There, so you can get an idea there from that dung. A brilliant kind of nice way to see what they do. That dung is white like that because of the bones they eat. So classic question there from David about the eating, or what hyenas eat, and that is, of course, because of the bones that goes white. Look at the little baby there, and I mean, it's starting to get quite hot, and so we're really lucky that they're out. Now we are on the drone shot, as you can see, and just really lovely to get a view of this amazing den site that they have. They've got a beautiful tree coming out of their termite mound. There's shade. There are weaver birds all around. It's the most picturesque place, and if I was a hyena, this is precisely where I'd have my den. You can see happy wherever you are in the world. Bye-bye. Right, internet people, thank you very much. You are for your faith and stoicism in staying with us. I'm going to ask the final control if they can't give us another shot of the drone there going over. I don't know what it looks like, so maybe it's not good. But the hyenas are being, well, the mother definitely noticed it. The baby hasn't been affected, so I just think it's so nice for you to be able to see where we're sitting with this incredibly picturesque little spot that they have here. Isn't that great? And I mean, you could sit here all day very happily with these hyenas. They are watching the drone going past. They're not affected by it, and they're certainly not nervous. They just seem to be rather interested by this thing that's, that's flying about them. There you can see them watching it, but very relaxed. And I imagine in the same way, excuse me, that they've become, excuse me, yeah, brief bout of consumption. Excuse me. In the same way that they've become habituated to vehicles, I think you'll find that the animals around here are going to become habituated to that drone very soon. Andrew took some incredible shots of a hippo the other day. He basically landed that thing on its head and it hardly looked around. So wonderful to have that opportunity there. The little one there. Such great value to have these babies here. Hello, Jacob. You want to know when they turn that adult colour? It's really a good question, and I'm sorry that the 6-month-old one isn't here. Probably still down in the hole. She has just lost that kind of black colour. From about 6 weeks old, that colour will start to change. So the more and more time they spend outside of the den, the less they will have that black colour. And Jacob, that black colour, we think, is an adaptation for camouflage, and it may not seem like a very good one for where they are now. But remember, she spends the bulk of her time inside the hole. And any predator that wanted to go down there and find her, of course, it's very dark down there. It's like a coal pit, and would really struggle to see an animal of that colour. So the more time that she spends out in the sun, the more time she's going to need, the more Now, hello, E-Trader. Hollering, I believe you are, from South Florida. Well, I'm so glad that you have taken the time out to holler at us, E-Trader. You want to know what would happen if lions came across here, and would they attack the hyenas? Would they kill the baby? Brian and I were sitting precisely where we are now about a week ago, Brian, when the 3 lions pitched up, just came out of the bush. And E-Trader, what happened was that the hyena babies disappeared down into the hole immediately, and then the adults kind of circled the lions, but didn't approach them, or one of them actually did make an approach, but they wouldn't have attacked them unless they'd had more numbers. 3 lions would have needed roughly 2 or 3 times that number for the hyenas to attack. So with 3 lions, you're looking at least sort of 12 hyenas, my maths is gone, say 9 hyenas, 9 adults, for them to make a true difference.
How many they are, but I'm hoping we are going to be able to get you a view of them shortly. There's a crowned lapwing that's been alarm calling, and that's what alerted us to this area. I was hoping we were going to find a leopard, but to be honest, ground hornbills are highly, highly endangered, as James said, and your chance of seeing one here in the Kruger National Park is far less than actually seeing a leopard. So we have a stroke of good fortune here to see an exceptionally rare animal. They kind of look like turkeys, big black birds with bright red facial colorations. And they hunt on the ground, they do a lot of walking around, and they've got massive beaks. They can feed on snakes, lizards, beetles, a wide variety of different prey, baby birds, and that crowned lapwing was nesting on the ground, or who does nest on the ground, is understandably quite cautious of these birds because it knows that they'll be able to eat its babies. Where are these animals? They were last somewhere up ahead of us here. I'm sure it won't be too long before we can get you a view. I just want to make sure I don't scare them. Where have you gone, ground hornbills? Now, somewhere up here, we should be getting a visual of them at any moment. They were just up ahead of us before you joined us. Like I said, though, I'd rather take it a bit slowly rather than rushing in and chasing them off. That would be a small disaster. They can walk quite quickly through the vegetation, and I'm guessing that's what's happened. I haven't given them enough credit for the speed that they can move at. What a wonderful morning it's been on foot and on safari. I hope Pete has some luck tracking down those mating leopards on Arathusa. Now, the fact that these magpie shrikes are continuing to alarm call up ahead indicates to me that possibly the ground hornbills are already up ahead. There's a party of birds that I think is following them and mobbing them. Kind of like a neighborhood watch, you could say, making sure that all of the animals in the area know that there is a threat moving through. I cannot believe it. These ground hornbills appear to have disappeared. When in doubt, scratch the head for a moment or two. And while we try and work out where these massive blackbirds have gone, we are going to send you back to James. I'm hoping we're going to get lucky.
So Scott Dyson is a fine athlete, but not quite as fine as the ground hornbills or as the hyena that just got up and ran away. The mother, who was on the top there, got up with, whoa, the youngster went down into the hole and she ran away at high speed. This one looks as confused as we do. I've got no idea why on earth she left. It's very strange. It seemed she got up and she looked over the top of the mound. I wonder if there isn't another predator in the area. The only thing that they would run from would be a lion. They wouldn't run from a leopard if it came through this area. Unless maybe the baby, well, the baby would be under threat from a leopard. Where's the other one going now? I'm just going to move. We're going to sneak a little bit forward and have a look around the side of the mound and see what's there. I wonder if it wasn't maybe the matriarch. They definitely heard something. She shot out and off at twice the speed that the ground hornbills or Scott Dyson managed. So just before I move, actually, there's a wonderful thing to see up there. There's a oxpecker nest. Now, you've seen those birds sitting on the animals, eating the ticks off them, and they've got a nest there in the hole of that dead knobthorn tree. And you might just see that she's standing right at the entrance, he or she, and parental care is shared equally amongst Mr. and Mrs. Oxpecker, and they've got a number of hangers-on from previous clutches that will help out. Now you see, if we had arrived here now at this den, we'd have no idea. That's called a red-billed oxpecker. Yeah, right, here come the other hyenas coming back now. We're going to stay here. I'm just going to ooze forward forward a little bit. Damon, you want to know if hyena cubs are at risk from other members of the clan? Damon, no, they aren't. If they're very low ranking, then maybe, but not really, no. Normally it's pretty safe from the rest of the clan. Just going to stop here. I cannot make out anything through there. There were some unidentified lion tracks on the reserve yesterday. I wonder if a lioness hasn't perhaps come across here. The wind has started to come up from the southeast, which is behind the mound. Perhaps there's a scent of a lion on the air, and that's what the incredibly sensitive nose of the hyena picked up. Who knows? Did you like the way I used nose there, Brian? Quite clever, wasn't it? Yeah, thank you. Okay, we're going to just do a little loop around and look around the back of the mound there and see if we can't see what it was. It was incredible. She shot up, the baby shot down the hole and she disappeared. Don't know what happened. So we'll turn this aging vehicle around and go and see what's on the other side of the mound. And Annie, you want to know, is it possible for a hyena to improve its status within the clan? Annie, the answer is not really. I mean, I think within reason, but I don't think that a low-ranking female could ever actually kind of accede to the throne of the matriarchy. They tend to have a very stratified hierarchy, and it doesn't change much at all. So, I suppose if the matriarch was to die without having left an heir, and they do leave an heir in very much the same way that human beings would leave an heir, I think it's quite possible then that a lower-ranking female might become a dominant female. Otherwise, no. For the males, the only way to, well, the males can only attain high rank. There's one of the hyenas sitting right there. So for the males, they will, retain the status of their mothers pretty much as within the male hierarchy, but if they leave the natal clan and they go off to another clan, like I say, they will become very low-ranking, but that will offer them the chance to mate and then leave a genetic legacy. It is the only species I know of in which that occurs. It is really the most fascinating social structure. Yeah, I don't know what went on there. Maybe she was just stung on the bottom by a wasp or something. We'll just sneak one small forward and see. Bill, another lovely question. I think you're also in British Columbia. Canada is definitely, obviously, suffering the effects of the winter and enjoying the warmth here in Africa that we are enjoying. We won't be enjoying it come 12 o'clock this afternoon, though, because it will be roughly the same as that at the heart of a neutron star. Bill, while we sit here and wait and see what's going on here, we want to know if disease plays a part in the life of a hyena. Bill, disease out here is a major thing for all animals, but because they've evolved in this area, and of course they don't have introduced diseases like human beings do. We've traveled diseases around the world, and I think that's one of the reasons we have so much more trouble with it. Disease in a hyena den, much as it's the same in anywhere else around, the wilderness areas, animals have coped. Animals have learned to cope with diseases, so they don't have outbreaks of disease like we do. Sometimes diseases are introduced from outside, so if the domestic animals come into contact with wild animals, sometimes diseases can be introduced, but normally, no, I wouldn't say the disease was a huge factor. The fact that they eat such rotten meat and that they're able to cope with the carcasses full with bacteria that you and I wouldn't go touch, let alone put in our mouths, I think indicates that they've got very powerful immune systems, definitely. So disease doesn't play a huge role in their lives. Remember, though, there is a constant and almost invisible evolutionary race going on all the time between little parasites, tiny parasites. It might be viruses and bacteria and funguses and all sorts of fungi, and all sorts of things that develop in our bodies, in animals' bodies, in plants, and in flowers, and all sorts of things that we don't even know is going on. And parasite resistance, apparently, is one of the hugest drivers of evolutionary change. Disease resistance is a major thing amongst all species of animals and plants. So, good question, Bill. Thank you for that. I think we're going to pack up our attempt at trying to find out what's going on here at the hyena den. I can't see anything. I wonder if she didn't catch the scent on the wind of a lion. We'll go around that way slowly just now and see if we can't pick something up. But otherwise, we'll keep you posted. Scott Dyson is still running as fast as he can after the ground hornbills, and we'll get an update from him on whether he's managed to catch those turkeys. See you just now.
So we've just got another view of these ground hornbills. Come along, and you should be able to see it straight through that gap over there. There's a bit of a branch in the way. It looks like it's feeding on something, though. And you can see the bright red head, I'm hoping. And there we go, there it is. Finally a ground hornbill. Who knows what it's snacking on? But let's try and get you some better views. I think there's some good cover where we can creep up on it. Let's go. And there's going to be a great little gap here. This is so cool. I have never shared the sighting of an African ground hornbill with anyone on foot. Where has it gone now? Now, Russell in California would like to know, why is it that they are so endangered? Mainly because they've got a very slow nesting and mating ritual where they'll only give birth possibly once every 3 years, and they only give birth or lay one egg. Oh, there it goes. It's not hanging around, and I don't think Chandra is going to be able to get you a shot. But at least you did get a glimpse of it, and we'll try and get you some more views, but we obviously don't want to disturb them. And before we send you away, I'd just like to finish off Russell's question. A lot of their habitat for nesting, cavities and trees, sadly gets cut down for firewood, or it's from burning too much. Oh, it looks like Chandra might be getting another glimpse of it. Hopefully it's going to pop out into a little gap. There it goes. Awesome. You may be getting... Well done, Chandra. Great work. Hard to tell whether that's a male or a female for me, but there are slightly kind of blue patches on that red gular patch that can sometimes indicate male from female, and they're usually about 4 or 5 within a flock, an alpha pair, and their offspring that will help them to raise future generations. Anyway, Russell, complex social structure, complex mating, and a very specific... Oh, it might be popping out again there, Chandra. Have you got it? Looks like it might be. Well done. Awesome. We're going to carry on and try and work out what it was snacking on. I think it could have been dung beetles or something like that, digging through a pile of elephant dung. And we're going to send you off to Pieter for an update.
All actually. Guys, I was just chatting with Wium, saying how awesome this actually is. You know, we're having a chuckle. Almost got frustrated earlier not being able to find these leopards because we know they're here. Again, we've got the tracks fresh. Got a few guys looked around. In fact, some of the game drives have left now, but we know that they're here. Sometimes you have these moments you think, I can't find the leopard. And you know what? It really isn't about finding the leopard. Obviously, finding the leopard is important and it's great fun and it's amazing to do so. And we might still do so any minute. But we just had a little stop. The best thing we can do at the moment is exactly what we're doing now, other than saying how's it and talking to you, is to just sit here. We know there's somewhere in this area. If you look just behind me, there's a nice view of the what we always refer to as the drainage line, or the dry riverbed, or the dry gully, or as a drainage line, or the dry riverbed, or the dry gully, or the wash. We're all saying, I think I might have seen an eagle, I'm not sure, kind of thing. So for now, we're just going to sit here, enjoy nature, enjoy the bush around us, which is a very important part to do, and hoping that we can hear them. Keep in mind, mating leopard, when they do mate, they mate often. They mate sometimes for as long as a week, normally 3-4 days, anything like that. And they mate frequently. They can mate as many as 4 to 5 times an hour, depending on the intensity, sometimes a little bit less than that, once or twice an hour. So, our best chance of actually finding them is just take it nice and easy, listen to the sounds around us, enjoy the birds, the cicadas. Can you hear that constant zzz, that constant buzz, very typically summer African sound? And just keep doing this. Looking around, you might just see a tail flick or of a shape of an animal. And there's also some impala in the area. Squirrels, francolins, impalas. They can help us find the leopard. And today, because these leopards are mating, we could actually have the leopard themselves making noise and then finding them. So we're going to do this. We'll see what else is happening. The hyena den obviously has been brilliant. Walk is fantastic. They might find something maybe very tricky to find, but maybe they can find one of these cicadas I'm talking about, these insects making this noise, and of course actually in the tent. We're going to jump around a bit, see what's going on. We're going to stay here, still hoping to find this leopard, and always having a great time in Africa. We're going to go to James next. I think he's still with our hyena. Enjoy it.
Right, we've left the hyena den. Andrew, drone commander Francis, is just going to look over the back of the den with his drone and have a look and see if there wasn't perhaps a lurking lioness walking up through the bush there. And we're going to try and follow up on a herd of elephants that we've seen. Like I say, the heat is starting to build. Now, elephants do need to drink every day, and so what they may well do is come and drink at the 2 little water holes that we have here. We do pump a bit of water into them now and then, and that will keep, just keeps them going. They're like clean water elephants. They don't like that kind of grey, green, greasy stuff that some of the water holes have at this time of the year. And I'm sure you've seen from the air, while it looks extremely green where we're driving along now, when you look at it from the air, you can see how a lot of the grass is pretty sparsely distributed, and it looks a lot browner. And that's because we still haven't had some proper rains, and because of that, because of that, and a poor rainy season last year, the grass is kind of very sparse. It's been overgrazed a little bit, and so things are quite dry, and so we do need to keep a bit of water for the elephants and things. The drone is going to do a bit of following of us as well, which is quite exciting, and so you can get an idea of that dryness that there is around here. So here's one of the pumped water holes. It's just in this clearing here. There isn't anything there now. And now you can see immediately kind of the change of color. And you can see all the game paths that head to the water holes. Those will be largely made by elephants, but also by some of the other animals moving towards the water. Things like the impala will often use a game path, and buffalo as well. And you can see there that the grass is sparse. It's not quite as verdantly green as it looks when you are looking at it sort of horizontally from the vehicle camera, which I think is quite amazing. So back on board with us now, and we're driving through a drainage line system here. And drainage lines, we use the word quite a lot here. It's a dry stream that doesn't flow anymore. It might flow if there's a giant flash flood, but the chances of that are very small. From the sort of dryness of our drive, let's go across to the sauciness of some mating going on the bushwalk.
Well, this is certainly one very well-suited venue for the act that's going on. These 2 little weevil-like insects are in the throes of passion, right within this wild hibiscus flower. Oh, have they left? What was great to see was how the back of the female, or sorry, the male who was mounted on top, was covered in pollen, and it looks like they're coming back into the flower now, so you should be able to get some good views. Or what I can do is just tilt things slightly here. There we go. Sorry, Genre, if I took the flower out of your frame there. But look at how crazy that is. Dusted in pollen, as they themselves are creating their next generation with their own pollen. Not too sure why they've chosen to do it right in this hibiscus flower, but it certainly does make for a beautiful scene. While we're talking about it, I guess it's quite useful to see that this is kind of the male parts of the flower, and below is the female parts of the flower. And great to see the different parts of the flower together with this mating pair of what look to me like weevils. I'm not sure what you guys think. Any bug experts out there that may be able to confirm what exactly these are, please let us know. And look at the little footprints they're leaving on the petals. I've just noticed that. Incredible. You wonder why there needs to be so much movement, but they obviously know what needs to be done here, and it appears like they are doing a great job at it. And Drew's just asked whether or not they are feeding. But I don't think they are, Drew. It doesn't look like it, although it does appear that the female below is frantically searching for something. What exactly that may be, I'm not sure, but they don't appear to be feeding on it at all. Oh, look at this. Another one's arrived. Can you believe it? This is crazy. No ways. Just the perfect landing. Slap bang into the flower. Now this is going to be interesting because I'm not sure what's going to happen next, but there may be a little bit of switching and swapping that goes on between these little insects. What's also great to see is that it's not just the yellow pollen on the backs of the mating pair, but the one that's just landed does also have those little white speckles. Now, a lot of insects may see in UV wavelengths, and the flowers give off UV wavelengths, so that may be a reason why they're attracted to this specific place for mating. Oh, the petal's crumbling in on itself there. Maybe they're going to draw the curtains here and continue in privacy. Ooh, okay, so they have detached from one another, and will the newcomer now get involved in the action? I'm guessing the female is the one at the base and the male is the one on the top. Could be wrong though. But let's see what happens next year. Gendre's arm is probably burning very deeply because he is keeping dead still, hardly breathing, in order to bring you these shots. So please do acknowledge that Gendre is in pain and suffering while we're enjoying these great views. Well, it seems like the passion has died down now, but they're still doing this strange kind of scrumpling technique on petals. And I'm not too sure why. Now, if we look across at another petal over here, it's an older one. It appears to be all kind of wrapped up, and I'm going to try and look inside there and see if there's no eggs, or, you know, maybe these weevils will lay eggs within this flower that they curl up to kind of create a larder of food for their offspring. Or maybe they simply, their mouth parts are too small to actually just take bites out of this petal, and maybe they are consuming tiny little portions of it that we can't actually see. So maybe they are eating, Drew. They certainly seem to be mouthing the petal as much as they can, but what exactly they are doing, I'm not too sure. You're going to have to do some research on these, unless, of course, any of you can provide us with some interesting info. Let me have a quick look in here. The one right in the center of the flower may be feeding on some pollen down there. Oh, this is so cool. Now they all appear to be going down into the base. Looks like the one's stuck down there. Well, this hibiscus sure is getting a lot of attention this morning, and it's probably not going to look nearly as pretty as it did when we arrived. At the rate they're going, it's already getting crumpled up into not the best looking flower. But maybe there's a method in these little weevils' madness, and I think there is. They're doing a great job in kind of rolling this each individual petal up. Well, Anne's just made a great comment saying that possibly this flower is an aphrodisiac, stimulating these little weevils into the throes of passion that we were so lucky to witness and share with them earlier. Timing is everything out here in nature, and I guess if we were just a few minutes late we wouldn't have seen that. But happy to even be just seeing this, because what's going on here is still very interesting, even though we don't know exactly what it is. Getting some great views. What I really loved was when that other individual just flew in and gate crashed the party. A table for two soon became a table for three, and now it looks like all three of them are going to dine on something right at the base there. No. Can you believe it? Okay, this is interesting. Now, what's happened here is the one that's now mounted, the smaller weevil, was the third individual to arrive. So that was the gate crasher. And the one that it's mounted was the one that was originally mounting the other weevil. So they're all taking turns and switching roles here in what's turning into be somewhat of a bonanza in this little hibiscus. Absolutely awesome. Okay, well, as wonderful as this is, we're probably going to start thinking of sending you off elsewhere, and we're going to continue on. Although, I've just spotted something else here, Jandre. Let's see if we can get one last little bit of camera work out of Jandre before his arm falls off. It's awesome. Oh, there's a spider, but it's very quick. It may have climbed up onto my arm. Where's it gone now? Sorry, Jandre. Well, it's gone, and we are also going to start making our way off into a different area to see what's going on. I'm not too sure who we're going to send you across to just yet, but I'm sure somebody will be wanting to get you guys onto their vehicle, and it's Pieter who's desperately urging you to join him.
Well, welcome back this side. It seems in the world of the bugs things are busy, and obviously lovely as well. Summertime, that's one of the beautiful things of summer is that you can literally stop and smell the flowers and often see things in them. So lovely to see. We've decided to move on slowly. I had a chat with Brent as well. He was also in the area looking around. We will come and look later again, I think this afternoon. Perhaps come and start here a little bit early and sit and listen again. And we're going to take one of my favorite drives back, which is up down. It's called the Marakene Donga. Marakene is the name of this little riverbed we're driving along. You can see we're going to turn into it just now. And Donga means, you know, again, that sort of riverbed or gully drainage line. So we're going to drive up that beautiful area. Very good sometimes to find buffalo in. Very good place to find ellies in. Very good place to find anything in, really. So enjoy the drive and see what we find. But sorry guys, I'm just checking that. Whenever you get into a new road, you see we've just turned from one track to another one. That junction is always a very, very good place or important place to check for tracks. Animals also, like us, often use roads. and especially animals with soft feet, leopard, lion and so on, they would often use this road. So those junctions are very good places to check for tracks, but no cat tracks, hippo tracks there. Saw a giraffe track a bit further back, so maybe we find something up in this area. And I was going to say, for this afternoon's drive, the Sunset Safari, which will be morning time for many of you, we will be back here again on the tracks of those two mating leopard. I haven't actually seen Tingana since I've been back this time, so it'll be great to see him as well, big male leopard. Hello Janine, great question. All the way out of New Jersey on safari with us. Janine, you are wondering if big cats, leopard, lion, tigers for instance, have they got those same rough tongues as house cats do? And short answer, yes they do. Except if you took a house cat which weighs, what does a house cat weigh actually? Like a nice house cat, 3-4 kilograms. Wium, you've got a cat. What does he weigh? 5 kilograms. Wium's got a big cat. So let's say 3 to 5 kilograms. That's about between 9 and 15 pounds. So if you were to times that by 40, you would get the weight of a lion. So take those rough tongues and look at the structure on it and times it by about 40, and then you'll have a rough lion tongue. So Janine, definitely, they have very rough tongues. I've been in a position a few times to feel it. And they use those tongues for grooming, cleaning the fur, as well as for lapping up water, and also for even licking meat off the bones when they're feeding. So, yeah, maybe we'll see a cat close enough to look at that tongue, Janine, at some stage. We could almost see it on the lion the other day. But looking for cats and having a nice drive in the riverbed, a very big example of one of the biggest. Enjoy it with James.
Everybody, I know it's Big Cat Week and therefore we should be talking about cats in terms of great reverence and amazement. But that over there is by far, to my mind, the ultimate emperor of the wilderness. A big elephant bull in must. 6 tons of don't mess with me. By must, for those of you perhaps new viewers, that means it's his time of mating. And if you look at the back of his legs, he's streaming urine, up to 50 liters of that a day apparently. And that covers his back legs and gives out a stink like a sweaty horse. It's called green penis syndrome. And he will be in a state of semi-frustration. And if you watch his trunk, he's smelling us very carefully. He's turning his trunk towards us all the time. This is not an animal you want to irritate, so we will treat him with due care and respect. But he is magnificent. And I'm always impressed by the size of elephant cows. But goodness gracious, when you come across something this size, there really is no steal Rudyard Kipling's line. But elephants don't normally like the dirty water. But this chap might come down for a drink here. Let's see. Classic example there of a male with his trunk hanging over his tusks. They often do that. Some more elephants here. Now, Maggie, all the way in Australia, you want to know about tusks, and if you found one in the bush, would you be allowed to keep it? Well, if you found one of this guy's tusks in the bush, Maggie, oh goodness, look at this. Please don't push that tree over, elephant. It's a magnificent tree that we like a great deal. Maggie, if it was one of his tusks, you wouldn't be able to pick it up, let alone take it home with you. He's having a snooze, is he? Yeah. Brian reckons he's going to sleep. It's quite possible. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? No, no. Sorry, everybody. I know it would be exciting to watch him push that tree over, but it's such a beautiful tree. It's been growing there for so long. There we go. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, Maggie, if you were to find a tusk in the bush, there's some very strict laws about ivory possession and what you can do with it. And certainly if you were going to try and take it back to Australia, I think you'd have to fill out about 7 months' worth of paperwork. Let's move up. There we go. How's that, Brian? Now you can see we were talking about the drought a little bit earlier, and we were talking about the fact that all the water holes are drying out. Well, look at this thing. This is becoming a cesspit. And that's just because of the mud, the catfish and their dung. The hippos have been dunging in it. The buffalo. So lots of nutrients in it for algae and that sort of thing. But not great for drinking. So let's see what he does. See if he drinks it. He can drink it if he needs to. But he may just toss some mud all over his body to help with the parasites. You see those birds. There we go. He's digging himself some mud now. This is very special. Very, very special. Ooh. Get my powerful binoculars out. You see the hammerkorp eating the fish. So, Eliza in Sweden and Stephen. Now that's a hammerkorp there with a fish in his beak that he's trying to sort of break the bones of, and then he'll swallow it. But Eliza and Stephen, you want to know, you say you're enjoying these so much and couldn't they make them a weekly thing? Well, what I suggest you do is tell all your friends to send Nat Geo Wild thousands of emails requesting just that. And with any luck, we'll be able to bring you these things every week. We certainly would love to do that. We enjoy it so very much. And interacting with people around the world while we're looking at Africa's iconic animals like this elephant bull. I mean, look, isn't he just spectacular? Interacting with all of you is a real treat for us. Now, that hanging of the trunk over the tusk is a typical thing that bulls must do. We don't really know why they do it, but it's very common. Isn't that lovely? Kicking mud onto his skin, into his belly. Like I say, about 6 tons, now in pounds, if you're still watching from the States, if you're perhaps snuggled up in the winter in your bed watching us, 6 tons is about 14,000 pounds. So, pretty heavy, really. There we go, you see the mud. And he just gives off an atmosphere and energy of frustration about him. That's what these musk bulls do. They just seem to be frustrated, desperately looking for females to mate with, but in a state of kind of irritation and frustration all the time. You saw the way he walked down to the water. He really kind of loped down at a great speed. Well, Joel, you ask a very interesting question all the way from New York, and you say, if he is a must, why doesn't he just go and mate? Well, Joel, you're a man of New York. As you well know, the seduction of ladies is not something one just does. One has to employ various tactics, and the same goes with the elephants. So, you know, if you see something that catches your eye, you're not always guaranteed of success. And the same is the case with elephants. He's got to find himself an estrus female. So a female and estrus in a herd that is susceptible to mating. it's impossible for him to mate with a female that doesn't want to mate with him because of the mechanics of how it works. So his genitalia, his 2-meter-long penis, is all internal at the moment. It will obviously come out when time for mating comes. But the female's opening is right underneath the belly there. And the only way he can mate with her is if she stands still and kind of almost reverses into him. Otherwise, it's impossible. So if she doesn't want to mate, if there isn't a female that wants to mate with him, it becomes impossible for him to actually take his frustration out, I suppose, is the not to put too fine a point on it. But that's one of the reasons, Joel. And of course, all the females are not in estrus all the time. So he's actually got to go from herd to herd, searching for a female that's in estrus. He may also have to fight other bulls for those mating rights. He's pretty big. I think he wouldn't struggle too much if there were other musk bulls around. But it's not an easy thing. Thanks, Joel. That was a great question, actually. Nice to liken it to human behavior. It's often so much easier to understand the animals when we can see how familiar some of their behaviors are. And you can just see him there. He looks, you know what he looks like to me? He looks like he's got an itch to scratch and he just doesn't know how to scratch it. He's got his feet standing like that, one sort of flopped over the other in kind of resting stance. And I don't think there's any coincidence that he's spraying mud into that region of his body. Bryce, thank you for your question. Do they eat mud? No, Bryce, they don't. It's not, and for some of you who are wondering why Bryce is asking that, it's actually quite an astute question. Bryce, they won't eat mud like this, but in dry times when there's no vegetation to eat and very little in the way of grass or leaves or fruit or seeds or pods, they will sometimes chew on soil, Bryce. So they'll find an area that's rich in salts and they'll chew on the soil. And that's a process called geophagia, which means basically earth eating, if you like. And they won't eat mud like this, though. This mud is not full of too many minerals, or I mean, I don't know what it's full of, but it's very stinky. He won't eat this, and you would notice that because if he was eating it, he'd pick it up and put it into his mouth. And what he's doing now is just spraying it all over his body, and a lot on his undercarriage there, where I think he's feeling quite a lot of frustration. There he goes. Look at him, he just looks irritated. He's flapping his eyes around. Sinking into the mud there. They can be quite dangerous for elephants. Not elephants this size, I don't think, but some elephants certainly can be a bit dangerous. You can hear the birds calling, the ring-necked dove, a little breeze blowing out of the southeast, which is very nice. Just cooling us. It's going to be a hot day today. He seems to be quite satisfied there in his little mud bath. Branch, we'll try and go around a bit. We'll try and get a little bit closer to him. Just get a nicer view. We don't want to disturb him too much, mainly because we don't want to irritate him. He doesn't want to irritate an already irritated elephant. They are large, like you can see. He wants to be very careful when reversing off a precarious damn wall. We're right at that side, Brian? Yep. Oh, he's lying down. Quickly get round there. He's laying himself down. We'll go and park under the tree. He threatened to push over. No, he's got up again. He's kind of sat down like a dog there in the mud. He's got a magnificent set of ivory on his right-hand side. Just going back to Maggie's question from Australia. Maggie, while rhino poaching is certainly one of our major issues at the moment. Certainly in Zimbabwe and East Africa, elephant poaching is a huge issue, and that's why moving ivory around is almost impossible these days. There he goes. Isn't he great? All right, he's going to go wander off into the bush there. I think he'll probably go and find some shade to stand in and doze and have a proper sleep there, and then try and carry on his quest to find some ladies a little bit later in the afternoon. Let's head across to Hayden. He's got some wildebeest for you from the air with Drone Commander Andrew Francis. We're going to continue off to the south, and we'll see you just now.
Another beautiful, beautiful aerial shot of our bush here in Sabi Sands, and we've just got in the middle of the screen there, you can see a wildebeest. I think there might be a few of them there actually in the shade. It's starting to heat up a little bit now, and these wildebeest will be giving birth to their calves in the coming weeks. They'll definitely be dropping many a calf, and that will be they sort of peak in a 3-week period early in the rains, and that gives their calves a great chance to benefit from the nutrients of the mother's milk and the fresh vegetation. And we've got an impala there as well, and we're flying just up over onto quarantine where we are now. We are on a very open area. You can see how dry it's looking at the moment. I'm absolutely amazed how dry it's gotten over the last week since we've been down for the start of Big Cat Week. It's quite incredible. We're really, there's our tent right there in the middle of the screen, and Drone Commander Andrew Francis flying impeccably as usual. And the dryness is incredible. We really hope for those rains as soon as possible. I just noticed when we were out before, Scotty had that hyena dung, and we've touched on it a few times, but I just wanted to go to the microscope and give you a little look under here at this incredible dung. Now, these animals have an amazing ability to consume those bones and hooves, and really all that's left is the boss and a little bit of the carcass, but most of the bones and things are consumed, and they pass through the system within about 24 hours. It's quite incredible. They really do. They'll eat mummified carcasses, and they'll consume all of those things. Even teeth are digested in about 24 hours. Now, something really interesting about the hyena dung. About 5 years ago, I think it was, there was a cave that was excavated in near Johannesburg by archaeologists, and there was 5 human hairs found in some fossilized hyena dung. And it's dated around 200,000 years old, and it's the oldest human hair, fossilized human hair ever found. That was just in a cave outside of Johannesburg. So interesting stuff. So dung can give us loads of information, and you can never get tired of a good bit of poop. Right, let's cross over to Scotty and see what he's up to.
Then come out. Listen to the incredible shrill coming from this acacia tree and the cicadas or cicadas within it. They are these insects you're looking at that have an incredible drum-like structure called the tympanum, with a muscle that's attached to the center of it. And what they'll do is they'll expand and contract that muscle, causing the drum to reverberate at very high repetitions. And it's just the males that have this ability to pull on the drum, and the females will therefore be attracted to their calls by ears which are under their abdomen. So quite a strange position for an ear, but that's where the ears of the cicadas are found. And what's crazy is that this little animal could be older than 10 years of age. They will spend the majority of their life in nymph form before hatching out into adults and then becoming winged insects that can fly around from A to B. So at the moment, the noise you can hear is males desperately trying to seduce the females. And we've got some great news that's just come through on the radio. Pieter's found the ground hornbill, in all likelihood the same ones we were looking at a bit earlier, and hopefully you'll be able to get some better views with him.
Welcome to something very special. Saw little bits of it earlier on the walk. Just found this one. Now, normally ground hornbill are in small groups of sort of 3 to 5 individuals. But this is a beautiful specimen, very healthy. I guess would be a dominant male in the group, even though I can't see the rest of the group. Really hoping we could see more of them, but this was just very lucky. He's going to go into some thick stuff now. We'll try and get another look, but sometimes they're a little bit shy. This is a very special bird to see. Yeah, let's try a little bit more. In Afrikaans, we call ground hornbills bromvoël. And the bromvoël directly translated means a roaring bird. Because in the distance, sometimes early morning, when you hear them calling, it can sound like lions from far away. I think we've got a question or two. It'll be nice to go through them. We're going to try and get another view, but I can't promise. No, there we go, there we go. Maybe. Let's see if he walks into the open. A little bit of luck, and we'll get to that question for you. Now he's going to try and avoid us. So this is a bit of a sort of a cat and mouse game, if you want. Question there. It's going to be our last view. Ah, beautiful. He's just picked up an insect there as well. Beautiful. Pitch black bird. Obviously that bright scarlet around the face and the neck. And Sydney was just asking just now, how big are these birds? And the best comparison would be a turkey for you guys. Very similar to turkeys, a little bit, how shall I put it, slightly more athletic perhaps. Keep in mind, I haven't seen too many turkeys other than the cooked version in my life. Turkey's not really a common thing here in southern Africa at all in the wild. You don't get turkeys in the wild, but even for consumption, we don't really know turkeys that well. Guys, we're going to start heading back a little bit. I don't think we're going to see more of the hornbill this afternoon. Hopefully there'll be lots happening. And from myself, Pieter, it's been a great drive. Thanks for joining us. And you're going to go and spend some time with James and that monster elephant. Enjoy it. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
We've left him and we've come across here and moved to a totally different area, and he's just coming towards us. We are on a boundary. I'm not going to hang around if he starts to get upset with us. Right, Brian? This is unbelievable. I'm just going to be very quiet. See? It's just unbelievable, everyone. This is the most spectacular experience. How are you feeling, Brian? In one word. Fantastic. There he goes. He's heading off on one of those game paths that you would have seen from the drone. And you can see why they've been worn. All right, everybody. We're going to see you this afternoon, 4 o'clock. Thank you very much to everyone who's been with us and asked us questions and interacted. Thanks, Brian. Thank you, Final Control, and Pieter and Scott on the bushwalk and everyone involved. See you later. Bye-bye.